In the 1988 bill, Donna Meyer assured myself and the rest of the House that this lottery amendment would not include slot machines whenever it was, if it was passed. And a lot of times you see court cases where the judiciary will look at what the legislative intent was. And that would be an issue I would be concerned about in this particular legislation here with that amendment is what was the legislative intent. I think on the face of the amendment, it's a real stretch to get where they're going, just to read the four corners of the document. But even beyond that, you look at the floor speeches, you look at what was said on the floor, and then you certainly have a great opportunity to know what the legislative intent was.
It's merely an amendment to state that if there is a lottery, it only be conducted through a series of weekly lotteries or drawings rather than slot machines being placed in every bar, in every grocery store, on every corner in the Commonwealth.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, in respect to my learned colleague and my friend from Davies, the bill as it is now does not provide for slot machines or anything like that.
And what I'm saying to you is we do not want this to happen in Kentucky. I don't think there's anyone in this House that wants it to happen.
The bill as it is now does not provide for slot machines or anything like that.
So it's another form of gambling that was not intended by the amendment that was passed by the legislature in 1988. In my opinion, if they want slot machines, then they need to put another constitutional amendment on, let the people vote on it. Well, if they tried to push this through without a constitutional amendment, there's broken promises. The issue of racetracks is one issue, and of course we consistently dealt with racetracks and their gaming issues. This is nothing new for the racetracks to say they haven't got sufficient funds to take care of their needs. We always seem to be dealing with racetrack issues when I was in the legislature. And the lottery, on the other hand, is a totally different game. You can't, in my mind, the two don't mix. And I don't think racetracks have the right to sell lottery tickets at their places either. So they're not a participant in the process and never have been up to this time. And it just doesn't fit what took place. And you know, I just see a constant spin on it. It seems to be a given thing that it's constitutional, and it's not accurate. It's too much of a stretch. And those of us there at the time know what we intended, and it wasn't to allow slot machines at racetracks. And I don't see how in any stretch of imagination that they can put the two together. You know, I lived through Bop Trot, and that was one of the most horrible experiences of my life. And a lot of my good friends ended up going to serving time as a result of that issue. And you know, I have a concern about my legislators, about my citizens and others when you start mixing interest where a lot of times greed gets involved. And so I would caution any legislator who's involved in this that just need to be very concerned about who they talk to, because I saw firsthand many good friends of mine who made mistakes that they had to pay a terrible price for. So there's a lot of people that have weaknesses, and the state doesn't need to be in the business of trying to take advantage of their citizens' weaknesses. We need to be about building a quality structure in our Commonwealth. We don't need to build our tax base on gambling. Greed just begets more greed. It never brings any human satisfaction. You can never find any peace. The more money you get, the more you try to acquire, but it won't ever bring you peace. The only thing I know is bring people peace is a relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. That's all that's brought me peace. And if I hadn't had that relationship in 1968, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. But that's what drives me, and that's my concern is the people of this Commonwealth.